Breaker 19, this here's the Squatch out of that one Bigfoot truck in Bakersfield, California. I'm loaded up in trucking. Look out below, 'cause here we go. Hello, my friends, and welcome to my very first episode of American Truck Simulator. This here's the Squatch, Kachi aka Dilakaba, and I am doing my very first run. It's just a very short run for about $250, but that's alright. We're going to do a couple of things here before we get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to adjust our seat. Unfortunately, there's no character that looks anything like me, so I sure wish there was a way for me to add in my own character, my own picture, but apparently there's not. There we go, we got our seat adjusted, mirror's looking pretty good on both sides. Let's take a look at our situation here. Oh, you're pretty. Alright, well, let's hit the road, fire this puppy up. We're making this first delivery, the very first delivery of the game. Now, I've played a little bit just to make sure I understand the controls. I can tell you steering with a steering wheel is a definite bear. No two ways about that. But I've worked on her enough that I think I got the hang of it, and I shouldn't embarrass myself too badly here. So we're going to roll on out, and we're going to see what we can do about making enough money to impress the local bank system so that we can get our own truck. Alrighty. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit escape. I'm going to click options. And for those of you who are just getting started playing and you want a little bit easier time, especially if you're driving with a keyboard, I suggest a couple of things. First of all, crank up your trailer stability. That's going to help you a lot. Bring up your braking intensity to about 3/4, because trust me, with a full load, a big old hoss like that, it don't come to a brake very quickly. I'm using a simple automatic. Later on, we may go to a manual situation, but for now, we're not worried about it. And I'm just going to turn off fatigue simulation because I want to do some trucking, not sleeping. So let's get on back to the game here. Got to adjust my mic. I'm getting myself air puffs. And the truck's supposed to have air brakes, not me. All right, let's get back to driving. Here we go. A squeal bus. Ooh, it's the short bus. Nowadays, you're not allowed to call it a short bus anymore. You have to call it a struggle bus. There we go, an old Chevy. Let's get on out here. Now, it looks like this is a very, very short run. Incredibly short run, as a matter of fact. An incredibly short run. Yeah, we're barely leaving the place. Now, the reason I adjust my seat up so I can see better, and then I adjust it right, because that way I can keep the nose of my truck, my little icon there, basically right directly on the white line, and it keeps me nice and centered between the lanes. Alright, bring her down to 30 here. I like to use my right mirror. You can turn your mirrors on and off with the F2 key. By golly. That is almost at what will be our trucking location. Alright. Bring her on in. It's them fellas right there. Take our time. No hurry. That is literally right next door to our truck yard. That right there on the left is where our truck yard is going to be. And this here is where we're delivering. I just went a bit wide, didn't want to kiss anybody. Alright, let's bring her on in. when you get the Bing, just hit enter, and it's going to give you your parking options. Now, each one is going to give you extra experience points. Your serious parking gives you 90 XP, which, as you can see, they want it right in this slot over here. Play it safe. We just pull her in. But right now, we wanna get to the trucking, so I'm not worried about the parking. So we're just gonna skip it right now. Get our 250 bucks and get to rolling again. Alrighty. I figure why go through all the hassle for a $250 job. Alright, we are free as the wind. Now we're going to get a look at our spot here. There it is, right across the street from the car dealership. It's a beat up old situation, just like me, a beat up old situation. I sure wish that it would not infringe on copyrights for me to be able to play music while I'm driving. We don't need the copyright strikes. Let's just get a look at her. Oh, it's pretty. I don't care if it's old and beat up. It's pretty. Alright. So now, let's get on it. So I've set as my preference the Kenworth. I like this kind of fella right here with the stacks. He's pretty. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the job market. Take us a quick job. And looks like we got a reservoir tank that's going from Bakersfield to Prim. And that's paying $2,700. And then we got one for $2,600 that's going from Bakersfield to Fresno. I think what we'll do is we'll take that Fresno job. I think we'll take that Fresno job because that'll help us discover some locations in California instead of heading off into Nevada where we're not going to discover anything. So let's get on to it. Now, when you're taking independent jobs like this, contract jobs, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to adjust your seat every single time. So if you know your adjustments, you can just get her done in a hurry. All right, let's do it. The nice thing about it is everything's already connected up for you, and all you got to do is roll. When you got your own truck, you got to drive to the location. You got to connect up the trailer and everything before you can head out. But let's see. So we got us this thermos bottle. Got us a pig of a truck, I gotta tell you. This thing is gonna handle like it's moving through molasses. We're gonna take her a little wide and we're gonna keep her in this view until we get clear. I don't want to tear up somebody else's vehicle. But I can tell you, if you play this game and you really enjoy this game, get yourself a steering wheel, because steering with the keyboard can be a real monstrosity. No two ways about it. Alrighty, let's do this thing. Make our first real run, not no silly little $250 run here. Hey there, feller. Alright, let's kick it in the ass and rock and roll. As you can see, basically with my seat adjusted the way it is, I can put the very front center of my truck right directly on whatever the line is and I can run it, and it keeps me nice and centered. What's up there, Smokey? Now, pretty much every time you pull out of a location, you're gonna run into the 5-0. That's just the way it is. Because they like to catch you right off the bat. Now, the fines and the nonsense for things like running the red light, speeding a little bit, whatever, they can really eat you up in a hurry. So you wanna really watch yourself. Some towns, like for instance LA, man, you roll into LA, and if you don't watch yourself every second, just like boom, 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 you're catching yourself fines. We have mail. You catch yourself fines left, right, up, and down. In my first gameplay that I was doing, learning the ropes and figuring out what settings I need to do to be able to steer with the darn keyboard and all that stuff. I did a run to Las Vegas, from Las Vegas to Los Angeles, and when I got into Los Angeles, in the process of going from the outskirts of Los Angeles to the place I was supposed to deliver, I pulled over $2,000 in fines. Just absolutely ridiculous. Now this drops down to 40 right here. We're going to discover an employment agency. And she will kick back up here, and then just as we get up around the corner here, she's going to drop down to 30. Right on over there is the Peterbilt dealership. So I know Bakersfield fairly well just because it's the city I run out of. Like I say, starting to learn to play. Drop her down, we're going to get a fine. And these lights are evil. They exist solely to aggravate us. We're going to hit this light, guaranteed. If these guys keep moving. There we go, good deal. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to float back a little bit so this fella here can get in. There you go ahead. I will be a good Samaritan. Go for it. I'm in no rush. Besides, that puts him between me and that Smokey. I tell you what, definitely an age gone by. Nobody does Ratchet Jaw anymore. Nobody gets on the CB and talks the way they used to. And I feel that's a damn shame, because it was a language all its own. But because I'm an old school fool, you'll hear me call things by their old lingo. So like I call this tanker a thermos, and call a refrigerator truck a reefer, and that kind of stuff. Alright. We're going to have to watch ourselves on this curve. She's a little bit tight with this big old bugger on here. There we go. Now, he's all stopped down here. Come on. Take her at a quiet creep here. Because we don't have anybody behind us to aggravate with the situation. That's it. Now we're ready to rock and roll. But you see, if I run that hood ornament pretty much right on the white line, if you look at my mirrors, you'll see I'm running pretty much dead center of the lane. That's a great way to keep yourself sorted out, especially with how difficult it is to steer using the keyboard. And I don't know that right now I can afford to invest in a steering wheel. It'd certainly be fun. Certainly be fun to get a steering wheel and drive this the right way, but you know, one up there. You have yourself a good one, dirt pile. Alright. And what is a 1978 panel station wagon doing? I have noticed that since this was made by Europeans. Whoa, slow her down there. Light. Holy crap. Change mine. Guess I'm gonna have to change my name to Thunderfoot here. Holy crap. Running 59. But the problem with the keyboard is that's, you know, one tap of the arrow changes everything pretty seriously. That's one tap of the arrow back and forth. You can see it makes a pretty substantial adjustment to our steering. So you can never quite get her online and just roll, you know. It's always this constant fiddling, drives me nuts. But so my plan, as I level this character, is to invest myself in driving hazardous materials, and then once I'm to a certain degree with the hazardous materials, then I'm going to start investing in long haul. Because hazardous materials long haul pays big, pays real big. But so, I'm sure the first question people ask is, have I ever driven big truck for a living? The answer to that is no. I've done a lot of riding along. I had an uncle who drove big truck, and I used to love to jump in with him, run all over the country. So I've spent a lot of time in a big truck, but I haven't spent a lot of time driving a big truck. He used to let me get in there and fiddle around now and again, but I definitely tell you, I've got some definite learning to do when it comes to using the manual and all that kind of stuff. Alright, we're starting to come up on our exit here. Want to make darn sure I can see what's going on. Feather out these brakes. Now the automatic transmission in the game can be a little retarded. I hate to say that, but it can. You'll end up on a real steep grade where you're starting from a standstill, and it'll try to roll you out in 7th gear. And you can use Alt and Control to downshift on purpose. So you downshift to first or second to get rolling, and it'll automatically kick right back up to 7 again. I don't know what the deal is, but there we go. Alright, well, we're almost there. See right up here to the left, we're going to change views so you can see where the heck we're going here. And we're just going to coast on in. Feather her out. Take her time. Because like I say, driving with this keyboard is a pain in the butt. Bushnell. And there we go. We've discovered Fresno. Achievement number 1. California dreaming. Come on in. There we go. And now, even though it's probably complete madness for me to do so, I'm going to do this here. Of course you want her there, huh? Alright. Well, that shouldn't be too bad in theory. Should not be too bad. But we definitely want the extra experience points. But you can tell that it's Europeans that made this game because they got some funny notions about what American vehicles are like. Apparently everybody in America drives classic cars and station wagons from the 70s. Alright, let's bring her up and get her halfway straightened out at least. Alrighty. I'm sure I'm going to have to fiddle around here. Get her back just a little bit farther. We'll cut her over. Just a touch more, I think. See if we can do her pretty. There we go. And zoom, look at it fly. There we go. So now we're level 1. We're going to invest in hazardous cargo. As you can see, class 1 explosives such as dynamite, fireworks, or ammunition. Let's hit apply. And we're up to 43.59. Let's take a look at the email. Alright, so that's the Kenworth dealer. Let's go visit the showroom and take a look here. That's the one down in Los Angeles. This is what we're going to be starting with here. This fella right here, a W900 day cab. It's the one I prefer. We got this fella here, the T680 duty day cabin, but you know, I like me an old school truck. That fella right there. We won't be doing anything extra, anything fancy, no custom paint job or none of that stuff until we get a bit farther down the road. But that's the fellow we will eventually be picking up. But alright, we're about out of time here. So I'd like to thank you for joining me for this first episode of American Truck Simulator. Thank you, good buddies. I'll catch you on the flip flop. I'm gone 10-7. I'm out.